Leo friends, let's talk about something big, and I mean life-changing big. Because whether you realize it or not, something is shifting in your world. And if you're watching this video, it's not a coincidence. You're being positioned for a financial breakthrough on September 20th, a shift so real, so spiritually aligned, it has the potential to change the way you live, think, and lead. Permanently. That's not hype. That's alignment. And it's been building for a long time now. This isn't just about money dropping out of nowhere, this is about a divine payout finally being approved. A settlement. A release. A restoration of something that's been stored up for you in spiritual escrow. And the truth is, you probably felt it before you even clicked this video. The restlessness. The strange dreams. The urge to declutter your life, say no to distractions, and protect your peace. That's your spirit preparing for delivery. You see, there's a rare alignment happening on September 20th. The Sun, your ruling planet, is locking into one final confrontation with Pluto. And what that means for you? The old version of you, the one who had to hustle, prove, sacrifice, and settle, is being phased out. And a new version, the one who leads from calm, confidence, and wealth, is ready to rise. But here's the catch. This money, this blessing, it won't just fall into your lap because you want it. It's coming because you've proven you can hold it. And right now, life is watching how you prepare. This is the part nobody talks about. The spiritual setup behind the financial shift. You're being asked to clean house. Not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and relationally. That pile of old papers? That person who drains your energy? That voice in your head that says, "This is too good to be true"? Let it all go. Because what's coming in needs space energetically and literally. And what you're not willing to release will crowd out the very thing you've been praying for. You've probably helped people when you had nothing. You've stayed quiet when you could have fought back. You've shown up when no one thanked you. And you've wondered, more times than you care to admit, does the universe even notice? The answer is yes. Every quiet act of faith you thought was forgotten, it's been recorded. And it's about to be repaid. Fully. So if you're watching this now, I want to invite you to claim it, not just with your mind, but with your presence. Drop a comment below and say, "I'm ready to receive what's already mine." That's not just a sentence, it's an energetic agreement. Your affirmation. And before we go any further, let me just say this: thank you. I mean that. For every like, every comment, every share, and every moment of your attention, you are the reason this message has a heartbeat. Your support is what allows eternal mindfulness to grow and deliver these messages to the people who need them the most. And trust me, Leo, you're going to want to stay until the very end today. Because what the universe is revealing about your path is more than timing, it's purpose. It's proof. And it's personal. Let's get into it. Every time you gave something away, your time, your energy, your last few dollars when no one was watching, and when no one said thank you, it may have felt like you were pouring into a cup that never filled. But I want to offer a different way of looking at it, one that might help you make peace with what you thought was a loss. What if you weren't giving something away, but depositing it? What if there's been a record not in the clouds, not in the heavens, but in the energy field that surrounds and connects us, keeping track of every moment you chose good over gain, truth over comfort, integrity over convenience? You see, we've been taught to believe that rewards come quickly, that effort equals immediate results, and that if it doesn't, then maybe we did something wrong. But that's not how real transformation works. That's not how destiny delivers. There's a delay built into sacred timing, not to deny us, but to refine us. Like compound interest, the most meaningful energy returns often show up all at once, after years of what looked like silence. This moment, the one you're in now, the one September 20th is guiding you toward, might be that return. Not because the universe is finally noticing you, but because it's the moment you are finally calibrated to receive what's already been earned. Think of it like a lock and key. You've been holding the key all along, but the door only opens when your hand is steady, your heart is clear, and your space is ready to receive. Until then, the blessings sit quietly in what I often call energetic escrow, not denied, just delayed. And here's the beautiful part. The signs that this escrow is being released are often subtle at first. A message from someone you haven't spoken to in years. A random refund. A canceled debt. An unexpected discount on something you were just thinking of buying. These are not accidents. These are indicators, small, tender confirmations that the flow is starting to move again. What's been stuck is getting unstuck. What's been held up is finding its way through. You might even feel it before you see it. A strange peace. A lift in your chest when you wake up. A quiet sense that something is about to shift. That's not intuition, that's alignment. That's your nervous system picking up on the fact that your energy field is no longer congested with old stories of lack, of delay, of unworthiness. You're becoming a clear channel again. And when you're clear, abundance flows like breath. This is where understanding energy psychology becomes powerful. Because if you've internalized the belief that your value depends on what's currently in your account, you've misunderstood the nature of wealth. Wealth doesn't begin in your wallet, it begins in your patterns. In your relationship to trust, to timing, to surrender. You're not broke. You're being recalibrated. And the payout you've been waiting for? It's not a reward for surviving, it's the natural result of your frequency finally matching what you've been building in silence all along. So I'll ask you this, gently. Have you ever helped someone without expecting anything in return, only to be left feeling forgotten or overlooked? Share it below. Don't hold that story inside. Because whether you realize it or not, those were not throwaway moments. They were transactions. Invisible ones. Spiritual ones. And they didn't disappear, they were simply waiting for this moment to be counted. And if you're still here, still listening, that means the moment is close. So close. Most Leos right now, whether they admit it out loud or not, are carrying a strange mix of exhaustion and anticipation in their chest. It feels like the ground is shifting beneath your feet, but you can't quite see where it's leading. There's this sense that something important is ending, but the new beginning hasn't fully arrived yet. That in-between space can feel like chaos. But I want to gently offer you another way of looking at it. Maybe what you're experiencing isn't a breakdown. Maybe it's a breakthrough disguised as discomfort. The astrology around September 20th tells us this isn't just a passing mood. This is your ruler, the sun, coming into a final, intense aspect with Pluto, the planet of death, rebirth, and deep transformation. When these two celestial giants meet, things that have been hidden beneath the surface can no longer stay buried. Old beliefs around money, power, self-worth, especially the ones that were never yours to begin with, are being pulled up by the roots. And yes, that process can feel messy. But it's also necessary. Because the person you're becoming can't grow on soil contaminated by old fear, shame, or scarcity. If you've been feeling off lately, foggy, uncertain, like the fire in you is flickering more than burning, that's not weakness. That's transition. And transitions, especially the sacred ones, rarely come with clarity up front. They come with questions. They come with growing pains. They come with the dismantling of what you once believed was solid. But that's the gift of Pluto. It doesn't destroy what's true. It only clears what's false. Tarot speaks to this same moment through the Tower, a card that often gets misunderstood. People fear it because it looks like chaos, collapse, upheaval. But if you look closer, you'll see that the Tower wasn't stable to begin with. It had no foundation strong enough to support where you're going. And so it falls not to punish you, but to protect your future. What feels like loss today might be the very space you need to finally build something that lasts. The Tower asks, can you trust the process, even when it doesn't look like progress? Can you surrender to the teardown, knowing that it's clearing the way for alignment? In the world of energy healing, we call this the healing crisis, the phase where symptoms flare before they resolve, when the body releases what it can no longer hold. Energetically, you're in the same place. You're releasing old attachments, toxic patterns, and stories about who you need to be in order to survive. And as painful as that is, it's also the proof that you're moving towards something real. Something that doesn't just feel good for a moment, but anchors you for a lifetime. Now, let me offer you something practical. On September 20th, surround yourself with the color royal green. Whether it's a piece of clothing, a journal, or a candle, bring it into your space. Green is not just the color of abundance. It's the color of renewal, growth, and financial restoration. It carries the vibration of breath of life returning to places that felt stagnant. Let it be your visual reminder that new energy is entering, and you are becoming the kind of person who can actually receive it. And if you've been wondering why things had to fall apart before they could come together, this is why. The universe isn't punishing you. It's pruning you. And sometimes, what feels like the fire is actually the forge. The place where who you really are is shaped, refined, and finally fully revealed. If you've ever planted something, a flower, a tree, even an idea, you know the seed itself doesn't guarantee the outcome. It's the quality of the soil, the timing of the rain, the patience of the gardener, and the belief that something invisible is quietly taking root beneath the surface. That's exactly what the Ace of Pentacles represents. It's the seed. A divine opportunity, a financial blessing, a golden beginning. But it doesn't come with guarantees. It comes with potential. And potential is only powerful when it's matched with preparation. This card often shows up when a door is opening, not wide, but just enough for light to peek through. You have to lean in. You have to notice. And more importantly, you have to be ready to receive. Not just with open hands, but with open vision. Because what's being handed to you isn't just money. It's responsibility. It's leadership. It's influence. And yes, it's reward, but not the kind that spoils. The kind that expands what's already solid within you. The Ace of Pentacles is the kind of abundance that asks something of you. It whispers, What will you do with this if I give it to you? And maybe even more directly, have you already decided who else will benefit from this blessing, or is it still only about you? One of the practices I've seen transform people's financial alignment more than anything else is this simple question: if the money arrived tomorrow, what would I do with it that helps more than just me? The law of attraction doesn't just respond to desire, it responds to clarity, vision, intention. When you show the universe that you're not just a consumer but a contributor, you magnetize the kind of opportunities that require your expansion, not your explanation. Take a moment and write down 3 things, just 3, that you would do with a large sum of money that would ripple outward. It could be helping a single mother in your community, funding a creative program for kids, paying off medical debt for someone who can't speak for themselves. Whatever comes to your heart, trust it. Those aren't fantasies. They're blueprints. And they tell the universe that you already know how to circulate wealth, not just accumulate it. Now let's talk timing. Numerologically, September 20th carries the frequency of the number 11. In many systems of numerology, 11 isn't just a number, it's a master number. It governs intuition, alignment, and moments of divine confirmation. It shows up when things are synchronizing, when your inner knowing matches what's beginning to unfold in the outer world. It's like looking at a puzzle and realizing you finally have the missing piece, not because it appeared, but because you finally stopped trying to force the wrong one. That's what this opportunity is about. Not manifesting from desperation, but aligning from certainty. Not chasing, but choosing. And that's why I'll say it plainly: the universe doesn't release abundance to people who are unsure about what they'll do with it. It flows to those who already carry the frequency of stewardship, not just ambition. It flows to those who understand that money is a tool, not a trophy. So if this message is reaching you now, maybe it's not because the money is far away. Maybe it's because it's close. Close enough to test how you hold the idea of it. Close enough to see if you treat it like a sacred invitation or a vague wish. Close enough to ask not, do you want it, but, are you ready to multiply it? You've already done the internal work. You've already shed the parts of you that didn't believe you were worthy of more. Now is the moment to show that you're not just dreaming. You're preparing. And preparation, when done with intention, becomes the magnet for miracles. When most people talk about being ready to receive abundance, they usually mean emotionally or spiritually. And while those are important, there's a deeper layer that often gets overlooked: the preparation that happens in the real, physical world. I've seen it time and time again. People call in wealth with their words, visualize success in their meditations, even write affirmations on sticky notes across the walls, but their lives are still cluttered with energy that contradicts everything they're trying to manifest. If you've made it this far, you already know the shift is coming. The question now isn't whether you're worthy, it's whether your life has the room to hold what's on its way. Energy doesn't just move where it's wanted. It moves where it's welcomed. That's why this next part of your journey isn't about chasing the blessing, it's about making space for it. And the space I'm talking about isn't just metaphorical. It's literal, emotional, and energetic. Think of it like clearing a field before you plant new crops. You don't just scatter seeds over old weeds and hope for the best. You till the soil. You remove the debris. You make sure what's about to grow has every chance to thrive. Start with your physical environment. Go into your home, your bedroom, your wallet, your inbox, and ask yourself, Does this reflect someone who's ready to manage greater flow? Clutter isn't just messy. It holds energy. And that energy often whispers the lie that nothing ever changes, that abundance is far away. But when you let go of things that no longer serve you, the broken items, the gifts you kept out of guilt, the piles you've ignored, you create room for something new to arrive. You send a message to the universe that says, I expect movement, and I'm preparing accordingly. Then, turn inward. Examine the language you use when you talk about money, time, or even your own potential. Are you constantly saying, I can't afford that, or I'm always broke, even as a joke? Words shape the nervous system. And repeated language becomes a mental default. Try replacing those phrases with more empowering ones like, that's not where I'm choosing to spend right now, or I'm opening space for aligned prosperity. These small shifts recalibrate the frequency you carry, and remember, money responds more to energy than effort. And then there's the hard part, the relational audit. Who in your life subtly, or not so subtly, drains your belief in yourself? Who laughs when you share your dreams, even if they call it just teasing? It's not about cutting people off with bitterness. It's about quietly recognizing which connections no longer support your next chapter. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is set a boundary and let certain conversations end. Last, but never least, put it on paper. Write down what this next level of abundance is really for. Not the version you say to impress people, the honest, personal version. Who will benefit from your clarity? What part of the world, or your community, or your family, will be restored because you finally said yes to your leadership? The clearer your vision, the faster energy organizes itself around it. And while you're doing all this work, the clearing, the shifting, the visioning, don't forget to tend to your body. When cosmic energies like the Sun and Pluto collide, your nervous system can carry tension without you even realizing it. Prioritize rest. Drink calming tea, breathe intentionally, and listen to frequencies that soothe the parts of you that don't speak in words. Magnesium, B12, and omega-3s can support your mental resilience. So can silence. So can a short walk with no destination. What you're doing here isn't minor. It's not a to-do list. It's a sacred signal. A personal declaration that you're no longer waiting for the perfect time, you're becoming it. There comes a moment on the path of abundance when we have to ask ourselves a deeper question, not, how much do I want, but what am I being entrusted with? The difference may seem subtle, but it's everything. Because when true wealth begins to approach, especially the kind that arrives after years of drought, delays, or denial, the universe doesn't just ask if you're grateful. It asks if you're responsible. And the truth is, not everyone is ready to carry what they've been praying for. If you've made it to this stage of the journey, where the energy is shifting and the signs are clear, then you're already sensing it. This blessing coming your way isn't ordinary. It doesn't feel like just money, does it? It feels heavier, fuller, deeper. That's because it's not just currency, it's calling. And this calling comes with a weight. Not a burden, but a sacred weight. Like holding fire in your hands and knowing you're meant to light lamps with it, not burn bridges. The Hierophant card speaks exactly to this moment. It's the wisdom keeper. The bridge between tradition and purpose. It doesn't come to grant wishes, it comes to hand you the manual. To remind you that this next chapter is not about indulgence, it's about impact. When the Hierophant shows up in a financial reading, it doesn't say, spend freely. It says, steward wisely. So what does that mean for you, right now? It means this: you're being trusted. That money you've been waiting on, whether it arrives through a new opportunity, a settlement, an inheritance, or something completely unexpected, isn't being sent to you. It's being sent through you. That's a very different way of holding power. You're not the final destination. You're the vessel, the channel, the lighthouse. And with that comes the need to reimagine what wealth even means. Maybe it's not about how much you have, but how well it flows through you. Maybe real richness is the ability to redirect resources, to take what was once stagnant and aim it towards something healing, nourishing, alive. That could mean supporting a dream bigger than yours. Helping someone who reminds you of a version of yourself when you had nothing. Starting something small but brave. Not because it's your job to save the world, but because it's your chance to participate in repairing it. What I've seen over and over is that money magnifies. It doesn't change people. It just reveals the deeper programming. And that's why you're being asked to stay awake in this moment. Stay grounded. Stay honest. You're not being tested, but you are being observed. The energy you hold now, the thoughts you have about this upcoming blessing, the way you speak about it to others, the intention you set for it will shape how it expands, or how it stops. When people use wealth selfishly, the energy locks up. It tightens. It breaks flow. Not as a punishment, but as a natural response. But when people use what they're given in alignment with a purpose that's bigger than their ego, the opposite happens. The flow grows. The opportunities multiply. The resources find them without needing to chase. That's how divine reciprocity works. You circulate light, you receive more of it. You hold tightly out of fear and the current pauses. So I'll ask you this: if you knew this money wasn't here to make you comfortable, but to make you powerful in service, how would you carry it? How would you move? How would you lead? And if that question stirred something in you, if you feel the truth of it in your chest, then say it out loud in the comments below. I am the keeper of the flame for my generation. Not as a badge of pride, but as a quiet agreement between you and the energy that chose you for this moment. Because readiness isn't about perfection, it's about recognition. And if you see it now, you're already walking in it. If you've made it here, then something inside you already knows, this was never just a video. It was a calling. A gentle knock on the door of your spirit, asking if you're ready to stop chasing and start receiving, not as someone desperate for change, but as someone becoming the change itself. Throughout this journey, we've walked together from breaking old beliefs about money and worthiness, to embracing the discomfort of transformation, to stepping into conscious stewardship. The journey of your divine financial shift doesn't begin when the money arrives. It begins the moment you decide to prepare for it differently from the inside out. You were never meant to follow wealth. You were meant to magnetize it, to hold it with grace, to distribute it with discernment. And if you felt things falling apart lately, relationships shifting, values cracking, emotional tension rising, it's not because something's going wrong. It's because something much greater is trying to break through. And now, I invite you to pause for a moment and ask yourself, what will I do differently after today? Will I clean the space I live in with reverence? Will I speak about money with intention, not fear? Will I let go of those silent agreements with lack, guilt, or unworthiness? Will I start treating my life like a vessel already worthy of overflow? Because the truth is, you're not waiting for a transfer to happen. You are the transfer. The blessing isn't landing on you, it's landing through you. And that shift in perspective is the beginning of all real miracles. Now I want to ask you not to impress me, but to impress your own soul. Do you feel ready? Not perfect. Not unshakable. Just ready enough to start. If the answer is yes, type 999 in the comments right now. Let it be your energetic signature, your yes to the divine disbursement already circling you. And if something in this message spoke to a part of you you've kept hidden, if something cracked open or clicked into place, then please, like this video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and share this with someone who needs the same awakening you just received. Every click, every comment, every act of resonance fuels this mission and helps this light reach the hearts it's meant for. From my heart to yours, thank you for being here. You could have been anywhere and yet, somehow, your spirit brought you here today. That's not random. That's readiness. May you have the strength to hold your blessings, the softness to receive love, and the wisdom to not spend your money but to plant it into light. You are not chasing. You are chosen. And you are ready.